What is going on, everyone? I know it's been a minute since I've been on YouTube, consistently that is, and there's been a lot that's gone on in my life, and I suppose that's the reason for it. And I figured I'd just use this time to kind of explain to you everything that has been going on, everything that has already happened, everything that's kind of still in the process, and so you have a better gauge and understanding as to why I haven't really been as active as I would have liked to be on YouTube. And so obviously my last video I uploaded a couple of weeks ago was well overdue. It was a vlog basically recapping my nationals experience, which was my second bodybuilding show of my first prep season. That was the IFBB Pro qualifier in Melbourne, here in Australia. And although I was pretty happy with my overall result, being my first season and all, I definitely left a lot on the table in terms of how lean I could have gotten, which is definitely something I'll be addressing in my next prep. Conditioning and stage presence, better posing, they're all my, I suppose, long-term goals and things that I really want to focus on bringing up and improving before I compete in my next bodybuilding show, which is at this point in time looking to be season B of 2023. So about a year and a half, or just under a year and a half away from now. So it gives me plenty of time to prepare and improve and bring the improvements that I want to stage. So that is the overarching plan. But the reason why I haven't really been that active is, obviously after show you kind of get a little bit burnt out. I experienced a bit of post-show blues, but it was nothing bad. It was more just acclimating and adjusting back to your usual lifestyle where you don't really have a specific kind of structured long-term goal that you're working towards. You obviously have your off-season goals, but it's a little bit different when you're doing a bodybuilding show because you're not setting the due date for the show. The people organising the bodybuilding show are obviously dictating what day it's going to be held on, and so they're kind of holding you accountable. Whereas when you're in your off-season, you're kind of not held accountable to the same degree. Even if you have a deadline for your goal, your off-season goal, if you have a very kind of measurable approach that you want to take to achieve that, at the end of the day, like if you have a few things occur in life, it's not a big deal. You can just say to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to be a little bit flexible and adjust my long-term goal considering shit's hit the fan the last couple of weeks, and I'm just going to push it back another week or two. Whereas when you're prepping for a bodybuilding show, you don't have that luxury. Like, it doesn't matter if you have shit going in your life, you just have to find a way to make it work because the deadline is set. The show is on X date regardless what happens or what you have to deal with in your life. So you don't have that same level of accountability that you're being held to when you're not prepping for a bodybuilding show. So I had a little bit of post-show blues in the sense that I obviously had a lot of diet fatigue from dieting. Everybody gets that. My energy availability was very low, and I think I used that to kind of wrongfully justify increasing my calories too quickly. So after my bodybuilding prep, I had a week of basically not a week of non-tracking, but I had about 2 days of non-tracking, 2 to 3 days post-nationals, where I just spent some quality time with my partner in Melbourne. We ate some nice food, we were very active, we were still training every other day or something like that. And then about 10 days post-show, which was the second week after my nationals show, I basically started my recovery phase, which is where I just continually titrated calories up to obviously recover post-show and restore some body fat, restore some energy availability. But because my perception was a little bit distorted from being so diet fatigued and my appetite was so out of control, I was in denial, and I kind of used it as a means of justifying increasing my calories quicker than I should have. And as a result, I kind of suffered the consequences. I dealt with a bit of water retention, which obviously isn't good for your health. You've got to really watch out for water retention post-show because it can put a lot of pressure on your internal organs and stuff, especially if you're not a natural athlete, so to speak. But even for natural athletes, it's pretty deleterious to health. If you gain weight too quickly post-show, if you get too much water retention, it can actually cause the exploding of actual cells in your body. It's pretty serious, it's pretty severe, and obviously can have impacts on acute blood pressure and things of that nature and that sort. And obviously having a high blood pressure, it doesn't matter who you are, that's not healthy in the long term. In the short term, it can be managed and then obviously dealt with, but if it's continually elevated, then that can become an issue. So that was stuff I was very mindful of, but for the most part, I just had some water retention, just because post-show, obviously it happens to everyone. Your body's acclimating to normal fluid levels, and going from a very dieted state, being very, very deprived of carbohydrates and just overall calories, to being in a hypercaloric state, or being in an abundant energy state where you have a lot of food coming in, more water, more electrolytes, your body just tends to soak it up like a sponge. And there's other factors at play too, but it's kind of an interesting period. And yeah, that 8-week period following prep, or I suppose 9-week period, because the first week post show was kind of a flexible period where I was just enjoying life and spending time with my partner in Melbourne. But throughout that 8-week recovery phase, I didn't really approach it sensibly. That's probably the best way to say. So yeah, I increased calories too quickly. I think I got them up to about 5,300 calories per day by the end of it. And as a result, I got heavy. I actually reached an all-time heavy weight of 115 kilograms, which is, I think, is about like 255 pounds or something like that. I'm not really good with conversions from metric to imperial, but it's about 255 pounds. And that was an all-time heavy. I've never been heavier than 110 kilo in the past. And that was when I was really pushing calories really hard. And it was just amazing to see how easy it was for me to get up to that body weight post-show. And it was just interesting to experience, I'll say that. But I basically blew out a little bit, gained a little bit more fat than I wanted to. Obviously, some fat gain is inevitable, and it's desired post-show to obviously normalize energy availability, restore overall health, and just get back to a healthy state. But aside from the post-show recovery phase, there's a lot of stuff in my personal life that's been going on too. I've been in the process of basically moving in with my partner, getting my car up for sale to sell my car, which I'll explain a little bit more about in the next few minutes. But I moved in with my partner, and that obviously involved a week of packing amongst my usual work week of working full-time as an online coach. And then in the process of that too, obviously, like I said, I put my car up for sale. I wanted to sell my car to be able to prioritise my business a little bit more, put more money into that, progress that further, and also to be able to save more money to eventually do a few overseas trips to different places in America, different places in Europe, to go vlogging, train in different gyms over there, and use that for content for the YouTube channel. And obviously it requires certain resources, it requires money. And if you have, I suppose, money going into different areas of your life, cutting that back in conjunction with working more and just obviously having more overall income at your disposal to fund those ventures, then that's the best way to go about it. And so me personally, I like cars, I like flash cars. It's the reason why I got a Mercedes in the first place. But at the end of the day, cars aren't everything to me, and I don't mind foregoing a flash car, considering I don't even really get to drive it anymore. When I got it, I was still working face-to-face as well as online as a coach, and now that I just work fully online, I honestly don't really leave the house enough to justify having a flash car or a car at all, to be honest. So I'll definitely be selling that soon. But yeah, getting that up for sale, and obviously moving, packing to be able to move with a partner, that's all taken up a lot of time. So that, outside of obviously just trying to recover post-show, I just haven't really been in the headspace to want to do a lot of vlogging, a lot of recording and editing, because it's very time consuming, and I just didn't really have the time available, to be honest. That's the honest truth. I could have been a little bit better with time management. I'm not going to try divert all the blame and not take ownership for any of it. I could have, if I really wanted to, just prioritize time management a lot more and squeeze some in, but I just honestly couldn't be stuffed post-show. That's just the honest truth of it. I just wanted some downtime. And now that I've recovered, I'm getting that mojo back. I'm feeling like I want to get into all of these kind of extracurricular aspects of my business and get back into recording for YouTube and posting it. And so I figured I'd just quickly touch on my current nutrition and current training approach before this video wraps up, and some future plans for shows and whatnot. So my current training, I was training 6 days per week throughout the recovery phase, but I decided to cut that back to 5 days per week just because I thought it was a little bit excessive. So I'm doing a 5-day split now, and that consists of an arms day on Monday, Tuesday is chest and delts, Wednesday is back and hamstrings, Thursday is a rest day, Friday is upper body, Saturday is legs, and Sunday is rest. So everything's getting hit with a twice a week frequency except for quads pretty much. Reason being is my quads, they've got a very low volume threshold, volume tolerance. If I smash quads with too much volume, they just don't grow, they don't recover, and it causes a lot of inflammation, and I just feel like crap. I feel that sore that I can't really walk throughout the week, whereas hamstrings, I can hammer the hell out of them. So and they are an area that I want to bring up more. So my glutes and hamstrings are still getting twice a week frequency by having that back and hamstring day in conjunction with a lower day. And then aside from that, everything else is obviously getting hit twice a week. Arms at the start of the week, and as well as chests, because they are priority body parts for me in conjunction with my hamstrings. So that's why I've got those 3 days at the start of the week. And in my back and hamstring day, my hamstrings are actually hit first. And then I've just got a couple back exercises tagged onto the end of that session, because my back, like my quads, respond very well to training. They don't need a lot of volume. And if I hammer them with too much volume, they either grow a little bit too much disproportionately to the rest of my body, or they just simply do not recover, and it just negatively impacts my progression on my other body parts throughout the week. So I've learnt that over the years, learning my body more and more, and so I'm just more mindful of that now. 5 days of training per week. Currently I'm at about 113 kilo, give or take a few hundred grams depending on the morning, down from an all-time high of about 116 kilo. That's because I've recently cut my calories back from the 5,300 calories per day that it was at to about 4,200. And I'm still steadily, gradually losing weight at this while maintaining about 10,000 steps per day. So I'm going to continue with that. My macro is about 275 protein, 70 fat, and the rest are carbs, which is about 600 or thereabout, I believe. So about 275 protein, about 600 carbs, and about 70 fat per day. That's my current nutrition, or my current calorie macro intake. And basically when it comes to future plans, the future plan, I was meant to actually be starting my improvement season this week, but because I've decided to drop some body fat, drop some body weight before I begin it, just to make prep next time I do my prep for show easier, I'm going to be postponing my official improvement season commencement date for a little bit longer, and just focus on dropping a few more kilograms before I start that. So currently, like I said, I'm sitting at about 113 kilo. Once I reach about 109, 110 kilo, I'll start my official improvement season, which will be a body recomposition phase, and it'll run for at least 4 months. The reason for a body recomposition phase is considering my weight cut for classics is 104.3 kilo, and considering that I am obviously quite heavy already, I don't really have room to grow. I can't be afforded room to gain body weight, even if it is muscle mass, because it's just going to make getting under my weight cut for my next show too difficult. And until I win my IFBB Pro card in Classic Physique, I just can't be afforded any room to grow. So I'll be getting down to 109 kilo or thereabouts, and then I'll just be focusing on recomping through that 4-month body recomposition phase once it starts, to get my body composition to around, I don't really care much for body fat percentages, nor do I think anyone should. They're kind of arbitrary, and regardless how you measure it, there's quite a large margin for inaccuracy, margin for error, and even a DEXA scan will carry a few percent inaccuracy. So, I mean, but if I were to go off of a DEXA scan, I'm aiming to get about 8% body fat, 9% body fat total at 109 kilos body weight. That will be the goal at the end of the body recomposition phase, which will just make for a very easy, very smooth prep into my next show, which is planned to be Season B of 2023, like I mentioned a little bit earlier. and if I'm able to obviously win my pro card, then I'll have more room to grow, because my weight cut will no longer be 104.3 kilo. It'll be quite a few kilo heavier than that, which means I'll be able to have a proper off season finally after the next competition season, if I do win my pro card, and then work slowly towards getting to the Olympia stage, which is a dream of mine and a long-term goal. And I don't know if I'll get there, but I'm going to give it a red hot crack. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. It was a little bit of a rant. If you did get this far, I do appreciate it. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. And aside from that, yeah, I just want to say I will tune out and let you watch the rest of the video. But if you have any ideas for future content, definitely hit me up. Drop a comment down in the comment section down below, letting me know what you'd like to see, and I'll do my best to make it a reality and make it happen. But yeah, guys, until the next video, stay strong and stay safe.